Okay, take two. Hello to my few and loyal followers. Welcome back to another one of these videos. Today I have another very special guest, Joel. Joel, if you guys don't know, is someone who has been a very close friend of mine since our freshman year of high school. So 10 years ago now, going on 11. He's always been someone who can have really uh, great in-depth conversations with, someone who I can share a lot of laughs with, but also someone who's very supporting. It's a huge inspiration to me for a lot of reasons. He was in a video before, and I really wanted to get Joel. I really wanted you to come back onto a video, just because so many things have changed, both like the video format, but also our lives. And honestly, it's very nice talking to you again. I feel like out of all of the guys, you're the guy I get to meet up with the least,
Yeah.
especially during the pandemic. So it's really nice to have you back. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, dude. Thanks again for having me, man. More than anything, like I said before we started recording, I'm just happy to see you and talk with you again. Because I was thinking before this, I think the last time I've actually seen you and spoken with you was you, Declan, and I went to go get a bite at Pancake House. Which, by the way, I still have his copy of Fallen Order. I feel really bad because that's like going on a year now. But yeah, it's been a while. And part two we talked about even back then, so it's long overdue. But yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Awesome. So yeah, I talked to you about this before I started recording, but I don't really have an agenda. I guess I don't have an agenda for most of my videos, but I don't really have an agenda or like anything we want to talk about. This is kind of the first time we're doing this kind of format, so hopefully it works out. But yeah, I guess just to start off, the last time you were on a video was in November of 2018.
Damn.
So fresh out of college with a business degree. At that time, I think you just started working your temp job
Yeah.
and starting your improv classes. And so
Yeah.
um, I guess there's a lot to cover, but what have you been up to since then?
Yeah. Since then, well, it's funny you bring up that video. When you invited me to do this again, I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch that video again to see like what I was talking about, and more importantly, like when we did that, so I can kind of get a reference point on where to start. Uh, but when I was remembering filming that video, I remember, and maybe the video is different. Maybe I put on a more optimistic voice, but I remember being in a really bad headspace because I wasn't really happy with what I was doing. I wasn't sure where I was. I still don't know where I'm going, but I've gotten lucky since then. But at that point, I felt really uh, lost and directionless. I was working that temp job, yeah. Um, so I guess from that point, if that was November, I was there for like a month, and I was only meant to be there about a month, that temp job. But they needed more help, and I wound up staying there until April, I think, of 2019. And then I left that job because they just didn't need me anymore. The temp, time frame went away. And I was lucky enough to kind of get not recruited, but referred to a insurance job in downtown Tacoma as an administrative assistant. Um, I worked there from May of 2019 to August. I don't remember. It's like 6 months or something like that. But that was definitely the lowest point of my post-college life, I would say. It really started to dawn on me that I'm not really a business savvy type of guy. Like this just isn't me. I going to work every single day was just a nightmare. I was so filled with anxiety, and on top of it, I wasn't really properly trained. The person that was supposed to train me in the job left after like a couple of weeks, and even the couple of weeks he was there, he was already mentally checked out. So I was in a new field that I do nothing about with a new company that I just heard of upon application, not knowing what I was doing. And that never changed from the beginning to when I left. I had no idea what I was doing. So I was in a really, really bad spot. And it got to a point where I was like, okay, I just have to leave. I just got to go. I didn't have anything lined up. And I did. I dipped. Um, at that point, I was unemployed for quite a long time. I think I left that job in like sometime in the fall of 2019. And then I was kind of just spending some time reflecting, figuring out what I wanted to do. So I wasn't really looking for work for a while. But I was kind of going back to my alma mater, POU, to meet with career connections there, and talk with them about what my situation had been like, about how I felt kind of directionless and trying to figure out my strengths and all that good stuff. Uh, but by the time I was ready to start applying to jobs is when COVID hit. And I was like, well, now I'm just super, super screwed. So that extended my unemployment period by a good, like, well, I guess from February, March, when it started getting really bad, to when I luckily got the job I have now, which I really enjoy. Now, that was all very sad and depressing, but that's how I was feeling at the time. So that's what I'm speaking on. But I came across a job at POU, again, my alma mater, for a advancement program coordinator position. Basically, that position, I applied to it and I got it. So I've been working there since August. And what I do in this position is I work in the university relations division, specifically on the donor relations team. So I'm doing a lot of internal and external communication with our various constituents, primarily donors, being on the donor relation team. So I'm drafting up and sending out monthly donor update emails. I'm managing different email inboxes. I'm managing social media now, which was not what I was supposed to do. But someone that was managing social media left, and they're like, Joel, you got it, right? I was like, sure, yeah, I got it. So it is a lot of marketing and communications, which is what I majored in, which is cool. And I'm learning a lot of really good things. It's really rewarding to be on a team that really cares about our constituents, and specifically working in advancement, which is sort of like the fundraising type arm of the university. To work for a team that worked to get me to college because I couldn't pay for it on my own. It's like paying it forward in a way. So it is really satisfying. So that's been kind of my professional path. All that time I was doing theater. If our first video was November 2018, I don't think I had done any shows up until that point. My first show was at Tacoma Little Theater. We opened in April of 2019. It was called Laura, and it was like a murder mystery, crime noir type thing. I played a guy named Danny Dorgan, who was just kind of he was just a ragamuffin type kid who just was only there to flirt with Laura. And then that was about it. And then after that, I did 2 shows for a company called New Muses Theater Company. The first show was Tartuffe, which was like a French French farcical comedy about a very dysfunctional family. And after that, I did a Russian drama called The Seagull, where I played Constantine, which was a huge honor because Constantine, I hadn't read The Seagull up until that point, but I'd heard of it. I think most people kind of in the theater at least know of the show, because it was just sort of, I guess, theater historical significance, and particularly with that character. So I was super happy to take the role, but I was also super, super nervous. And honestly, I thought I did such a bad job that I said, okay, I'm not going to do any shows after this until I spend like a year or 2 training. But then I kept getting called to do another show, Taming of the Shrew, for a new theater company called Toll and Small Productions. And Shakespeare was something that I hadn't done before. And the director was really cool. They were always really nice to me and very supportive. And so I was like, okay, I'll do that. And I did. And it was an absolute blast. And then after that point, I was like, okay, I've really enjoyed the shows that I've been doing, but I really want to take some time to actually properly train, because I like the momentum that I have right now. And I love the shows that I've been doing. And I was so blown away to be nominated for Tartuffe and Seagull as Best Supporting Actor. That was really reaffirming, but that also told me like, okay, if this momentum is like going to keep going, then I really need to pause for the cause and like get some actual proper training, because I don't want to stalemate, and I just want to improve. But then COVID hit, and then nothing was going on. So yeah, that was a very rambled history of my professional and theatrical life since that video. It was a very eventful time, um, but reflecting on it, it's really, really good times. I miss it a lot. Yeah, specifically talking about theater. So I hope that answered your question. there's,
Yeah,
there's
for
a
sure.
lot that has happened since then. I'm just trying to, in the moment, recollect what happened.
For sure. How does it feel being back? I mean, you talked about it a little bit, but how does it feel being back at your alma mater? I guess now as like an employee. I guess though technically not on campus, but like as a staff member as opposed to a student, because you're pretty involved with the community as a student too, right?
Yeah, yeah. I was working for residential life pretty much my entire 4 years at PLU. I started as a front desk worker for my res hall my freshman year. Then my sophomore year, I was a RHA public relations director. And then my junior and senior year, I was an RA. So I was always involved. I was involved with that on the residential life aspect, and I was also involved with a bunch of clubs and stuff. So throughout all the different things I was doing, I got to know a lot of the staff and professors and stuff. And to come back just a couple years after graduating, it felt very right, because I had a really good time at PLU. The school was really good to me. I made some really good friends there. It was some of the best years of my life. So again, like I was saying earlier, to be able to kind of pay it forward for a team that got me to university in the first place feels really good. And it's kind of interesting too, because there are still students there. Like the seniors that are there now were freshmen when I was a senior. So I, like I said, part of my, actually a large part of my job is building mass communication emails that go out to donors and constituents and stuff like that. So I'm pulling a bunch of images and coordinating with people and getting a bunch of different graphics sent to me with students in them. I'm like, yo, I remember her. Oh, we were buddies. They're like, I remember him too. Like, he's still here. That's cool. I'm glad that he's doing this. I'm glad, that I can see where some of them are going after school. So a part of me still almost kind of feels like a student. Um, I guess the best way I could put it is it feels like I never really left, because a lot of the professors are still there. A lot of the staff are still there. For example, my capstone advisor and some of my business and like my business professor for a couple of my classes, I'm like working closely with right now to advertise for a business plan competition that she puts on annually. So to go from like being a student of this person to now being like a collaborator in a work environment is like, wow, it's pretty cool. So it's been a blast. I'm really happy where I am now. I like what I'm doing. And it's just good to be back.
Awesome. I guess moving forward, uh, I mean, because you kind of separated your professional career from like your acting career, and
Yeah,
obviously you're pursuing them both.
yeah,
And I guess it's a big question, right? Like you're pursuing them both seriously, I would hope. Um, but like, I guess the best way to phrase it is like, what are your plans moving forward,
yeah,
both in regards to the acting and the work?
yeah. That is the question. I guess in a way, it's nice to be in this COVID environment right now, because it forces me to focus on one. It
Mhm.
forces me to focus on work, so I can build finances, and there's not much to spend it on because there's not much going on now. I'm lucky enough to, I'm still with my parents, so I'm not like paying for super crazy bills. Um, so the short-term plan is just accumulate money, stack money, so that once things kind of start opening up again theatrically, you just hit the ground running, with classes, different seminars, workshops, paying for updated headshots, all these different kinds of things. The long-term plan, I think, is still go to, I mean, it's hard to say this because like life just can take you any which way. I would still like to go to grad school for acting for sure. I don't know when that would happen. I don't know how I'm gonna fund that. Um, But that is still the ultimate goal. I would love to do that. I would love to make theater in one way or another my career. And that's in large part why I majored in marketing, is because, okay, well, I personally didn't want to major in theater because I felt I could get training in acting and the stuff that I wanted to do outside of a college environment. I have nothing against theater majors. I actually have so much respect for them because they're really, really shooting for what they want to do immediately. And I wasn't brave enough to do that. But so I was like, okay, if I'm not going to major in theater in college, even though it's what I want to do with my life, then let me major in something that is still conducive to that type of environment. And I thought marketing would be a really fun and creative way to do that. And basically what I'm doing now is what I would love to do for Fifth Ave or TLT or something like that. Working in development and fundraising, working on communications with donors and our public, managing the social media. It is all translatable, transferable skills that I can carry from what I'm doing now to what if I don't make a living as an actor, I can still use the work experience that I have and still make a living in the theater world. You know what I mean? The long-term goal, and the reason I put making a living as an actor, is because once upon a time that was definitely the goal. And I think for a lot of actors it definitely is, but I think I just love doing it so much. I think the most important thing to me is to just always improve. That's the only goal, is just to always get better. It doesn't need to be how I'm making my living. And honestly, I almost worry that would happen because then play becomes work, you know what I mean? And there is a good chance that I love theater, but I could still get burnt out on it. And I do not want to get burnt out on theater. Because I often find the things I do get burnt out on, I kind of just leave in the dust and don't really return to. And I don't want to do that with theater. So long term, it's very loosey goosey, nothing solidified. But short to medium term, it's build up finances. Once things start reopening, train, really focus on that for a good year or two. And then after that, kind of reevaluate. Okay, what are my finances looking like? Can I go to grad school? If I can, how am I going to fund it? Where am I going to go? What do I want to do with that grad degree afterwards? Do I want to try to do acting 100% of the time? Or do I want to be a drama teacher? Do I want to run a theater, like a small community theater? There's a lot in the air right now. But definitely having the arts be the bulk of my life is the goal. Yeah, is the sort of umbrella goal.
I think one of the, how do I phrase this? So I talked about how you're a huge inspiration to me, and for a lot of reasons. And one of those is because you are pursuing the arts. I think we talked about this a lot before, but that aspect of when play becomes work, right? And that kind of being burnt out or losing interest in something that you're really passionate about because it becomes your job, because something that you rely on rather than something you are doing because you love it. I think it takes a very special type of person to be able to do that. I have a lot of respect for people like actors and artists and dancers and all these people who are able to kind of make that separation between doing what they love because they love it and doing what they love because it's work, or even in a lot of cases acknowledging the kind of combination of two aspects and still being okay with doing it. And for you, I think it's especially interesting because you brought up the topic of, even if you don't necessarily make a living as an actor, you're still able to be involved in the theater. And I think that was something that I think for a lot of people and a lot of artists, and even me, when I thought about going to arts for a very brief amount of time, it was kind of all or nothing. Not really willing to compromise for being, just kind of part of the environment and still being happy with that. And so I think it's really interesting that you were able to, I guess, kind of come up with different aspects of the field that you want to be involved in. I
Mhm.
think it shows that you're so very passionate about it, but you're also very serious about it. And that's, again, that not a lot of people have. Um, there's somewhere else I was going with that, but I don't remember. But yeah, again, kudos really for pursuing it as far, especially in COVID where everything is rough. And in the time of our lives, right? We're 24 now, and so you know we're not necessarily in a rush to make a living per se, but it's definitely you kind of feel that pressure getting to that point, right? Being kind of approaching the mid 20s, it's to kind of feel like you need to be in that position already.
Yeah.
Um, and it takes a lot of patience, but especially for any field you go into, but especially going into the arts.
Yeah.
And they're really open-minded at that as well. So yeah, I really respect you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Um, I guess the only other question I have really prepared is uh I guess now being 2 years. So 2 years ago in the first video you talked about um your advice for people kind of in that transitionary period was do what you love, right?
Yeah.
And I think that was very applicable to the time we were in. But now 2 years later, now that we're kind of in the middle of doing what we love, like pursuing that, like what advice do you have for people again in that transition period, or even like in the period that we were in now?
Yeah, I would still say do what you love, but you have to be flexible. You have to be agreeable. You know what I mean? Uh, I don't want to compromise my love for theater and just decide, okay, well, since COVID is here and I can't really do anything, let me just become a fundraiser full time and then, do acting every now and then. You just kind of have to adapt to the times, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, I would love to do what I love and do shows, but that's just not really feasible right now. So I just focus my efforts on still being productive and doing things that will help me down the road with what I love to do, like, the finances and stuff. For other people, not everybody's interested in arts. Whatever it is that you're interested in, the advice honestly still stands. I think what I've just learned since that first video is it's okay if you have to kind of depart from it for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, we would all love to do what we love to do all the time, but that's just not really like how life works. Things will pop up in your personal life or on the world level, like a pandemic, that kind of uh, prevent you from being able to fully engage with what you want to do. And so just be aware that those kinds of things happen, that those forks in the road are there, and always also reevaluate what it is you want to do. You know what I mean? Like, always be assessing your circumstances. Um, because things change. It could be that, down the road for me personally, like, acting was cool. I really enjoyed it for like the first 20, 30 years of my life, but I'm good. So just always have that conversation with yourself. Because I think, having that goal of doing what you want to do, and really pursuing what it is that interests you at any point in time, that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to, how to put it, I don't want, if you're too afraid to really pursue what it is you want to do, then you're kind of just left with working for a living, in all likelihood, a job that you're not really happy with. So, take risks, be willing to try things out, be willing to take that leap, but also uh, be prepared to kind of adapt to things. Yeah, this is kind of the advice I have, I guess. Really, it doesn't change. Like I said, doing what you love, that's, like I said, what it's all about. Um, just acknowledge that sometimes I might have to take the back seat for a little bit for X, Y, or Z reasons.
I can definitely relate to that too. Like I thought that I mean, we just had a big conversation about this, like with my whole med
Hmm.
school thing, and like probably not being accepted. I think especially mean, talked about in context of the arts, but I think especially for people as well who are kind of in the longer career paths like medicine or law or engineering,
Mhm.
it's such a you kind of need a be really like narrow sighted for that, and really just kind of gun for it from the start if you want to do it. And if you plan to do it before a certain age, let's say.
Mhm.
Um, and I think because of that, you kind of blind yourself to all the other aspects of life, or all the other career paths that you kind of might be interested or would want to do.
Mhm.
Um, and then you kind of reach the end of the line, quote unquote. And then let's say something happens, like you don't get accepted, or uh, I don't know, like a pandemic hits and you're unable to go to school, or something
Mhm.
like something that kind of derails you, and you're just kind of you've never known anything else for so long, and everything was so planned out for so long that you just kind of feel a bit lost.
Yeah.
Um, and that's kind of what happened. That's exactly what happened to me too.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I agree with you. I think that flexibility is definitely a huge factor, no matter what field you're going into, and even when you're already in your field. Um, yeah, and yeah, I think even after you reach your goals and you're kind of already in that field, never letting yourself kind of get that sense of contentment, and just always kind of pursuing higher goals and remembering to keep that flexibility and that drive that you had before you achieved your current goal.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I agree with what you said, especially in that latter part. I've always felt that, and it's an extreme thing to say, but like complacency kind of kills innovation. You know what I mean? That's not to say that it's bad to enjoy where you are, but at least always ask yourself, or at least always be willing to kind of remove those blinders and look around you. You know what I mean? And ask questions of yourself. And if you're happy with where you are, cool. But at least have that conversation with yourself and
Hmm.
acknowledge that, like you said, that there are other things out there that you might not have picked up on while you were on your path. So that all, yeah, ties into the flexibility. And it's hard, because every different field there is out there, every different interest that there is, it's an entirely separate circumstance. So it's hard to find a catch-all piece of advice to throw out there, um, other than just being flexible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. What kind of plan? So I guess outside of, I guess before you move on, is there anything else that you wanted to say about this topic? Any advice? Anything you want to plug? Anything regarding that?
To plug, yeah. Um, no, I don't think so. No, I think I've said all I want to on that part. Yeah.
Cool. Um, I guess in that case, uh, how you doing?
I'm
I don't know. It's like I feel like with these videos, it's kind of weird because you go into it with such a uh, direct theme, and like I think that's why with you, I had you just kind of speak to the camera, and I think originally that's how I wanted all the videos to be,
Mhm.
because that's what I wanted to talk about. I didn't think there was really a need for any kind of interview, but they kind of derailed based off my guess, and so uh, um, I don't know. It's always like a weird. I think especially since the videos have gotten longer, if each video I made has gotten longer, it's kind of weird transition into like such a heavy topic to just kind of like talking. I think especially during like quarantine, I feel like I think aside from like helping my parents at the shop, I haven't left home in like months. So it's like
Same.
weird. Yeah, honestly, it's like weird talking to people again, which I didn't expect, because never had really had trouble talking before. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
I'm
Uh,
definitely
yeah.
terrified of like actually because it's funny because I got this job that I'm in in the middle of the pandemic, and I've only seen out of everybody on the team, I've only seen like two people in person. Uh, and so like there's gonna come a point to where we all return to the office. I guess it's returning for them, but for me, it'll be going to the office for the first time and meeting everybody for the first time. And I always joke, and it's everybody always kinds of jokes that, like, are we gonna know how to interact with people once this is all over? Because, like, I don't know about you, but I've just known these four walls and the roof for the past like year, and that's definitely been my story. Um, yeah, it's an interesting time, and it's funny too, because like on Twitch, for example, or yeah, and I'm messaging anybody, someone will say, like, "How's it going? Like, what's new?" And you're like, nothing, man." It's an interesting question to answer these days in this environment. But yeah, yeah, I was gonna go somewhere else with that as well, and I don't quite remember. It's just interesting times.
Yeah, I feel like even online it's been getting a little difficult. Like with our group chat, I feel like we haven't used that in a long time.
Yeah,
And like the times that we do use it, it's like me asking people to be in a video or like
yeah,
asking for advice. It's like very mundane things. So I feel like it's been a while since I guess aside from like when like the last time playing the jackpot games, like it's been a long time to have like a normal conversation.
hmm,
Um and like the whole like what's new thing too. I don't want to get like super serious about it, but like I think especially like our time, uh like even like if COVID wasn't a thing,
hmm,
um like we're in a time of life where like we're looking for new jobs, we're getting relationships, we're doing all these things. So what's new is kind of always the big question.
yeah,
Um and I never really had anything to share before COVID either. But I think it's especially kind of weird entering it now. And it's like no one's really doing anything new, but at the same time I still feel kind of bad saying nothing's really happening
yeah,
for
yeah.
everyone. And it's like it's not even, at least for Washington, we're not really even in that much of a lockdown anyway. Like
No,
it's pretty loose.
yeah.
It's just that, and like I just didn't like I because it's so loose, I don't even realize, or I didn't realize how much time I spent in my house
Hmm.
uh until just now. So
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. Um, I I really look forward to all of us getting back together in person again, everybody on the group chat, and asking each other in person, what's new? You know what I mean? Because, like, for as stagnant as things have felt, I do feel like uh, a lot has changed still. It's
Mhm.
funny. It's kind of weird. It's paradoxical in a way, because, like, our days kind of do blend together and nothing really feels like it's changing. But and maybe it's just me, because I haven't really caught up with the group in a long time, but things could be totally different for everybody, and I would know none the better right
Mhm.
now. But yeah, just the kind of reconvening after the pandemic is going to be really, really interesting, because we were already in a really, like you said, transformative period in our lives. And I'm just curious to see how people have adapted, how our friends have adapted to this year of lockdown, what kind of moves they've been making, have they been making any moves, what's changed, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's interesting. Man, I just want to hug a homie, you know what I mean? It's been a while. I don't know about you, it doesn't feel like it's been a year.
Yeah, I feel like it's been pretty quick, and I guess it's just because not much has happened in the year. So there's not a lot to remember, but it definitely only feels like it's hard to believe that it started. What, it was 2020, yeah, or
Yeah,
2019? Yeah, 2020. Like I don't even remember when the pandemic started anymore. So it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, it's just the whole thing.
It's funny that you got confused with the years, because I've been doing that a lot lately. Like, I keep thinking last year is 2019. Uh, I've just completely lost track of when what happened. But yeah, I don't know. Have you and your family been okay during the pandemic?
Um, yeah, we've been okay. I mean, it's been a little weird for me personally, just because I since quitting my job last year, and so I think I had bit. It was just so much of a routine that I'm still like kind of getting used to. I was like getting ready to not do anything
Mhm.
until I got into school, but now that I'm like not doing anything because I can't do anything versus not doing anything because I was just kind of waiting. It's
Yeah.
a totally different vibe.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, my parents have been okay with it. They don't go out too often, too much anyway, and so I think the biggest thing for them is just not being able to see family. Because like my parents are both. My mom's the youngest of. My mom's one of seven, I think, and my dad's one of like six or something like that. And so, especially on the holidays, it's always been have a lot of family over
Right.
and just really talk. We haven't really been able to do that, so I think that's been a little rough for them. But other than that, I think it's been okay. The donut shop has been pretty quiet for the most part, which you kind of expected, but
Right.
not so quiet that. But busy on the weekends, which is kind of weird. But not so quiet that we need to go out of business. And so it's been steady, and I've been helping out there. Yeah, I think the biggest. Yeah, my brother is graduating from high school this year, which is crazy. Uh, I feel kind of bad because now he has to go through the whole like virtual graduation thing. But
Yeah, that is a bummer.
yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think he feels ready to graduate. I
Yeah.
think he just wants to go to college already. So um,
Does he know where he's gonna go?
he
Or what he wants to do?
we'll see. He applied to all in-state schools, and he's
Okay.
gotten accepted to all of them so far, except for UW, which hasn't gone back to him yet. So
Gotcha.
I think UW is the only school. UW Seattle. UW Seattle is the only school that he really wants to go to. At least it sounds like.
Hmm.
Um, and so if he doesn't get accepted there, which I'm sure he will, but if he doesn't get accepted there, I think he's going to go to Western. Um, and I think he wants to do business, but he's still pretty unsure.
Yeah.
So we'll see how things go.
Yeah, for sure. That's crazy, man. I can't believe he's graduating.
I know it feels weird. I mean, you want to talk, right? Your brothers are older than mine are.
Yeah, yeah, they've been out for a while. That going to the last graduation was nuts. I was like, this is it. Like we're done with Bellarmine now. Like we're done. That's crazy. I had a similar vibe with Visitation, which I don't know if you heard, but I think they're closing. Like
Oh, what?
they're merging with. I think a few of the smaller local Catholic schools are sort of kind of merging
Hmm.
into one school. I have to reread the article, but yeah, at some point they're closing the doors, man.
Wow, that's crazy.
I know it's kind of sad. I had such a good time there, but the reason I bring that up is just because not at closing, but Viz in general was like Zach being the last to graduate. He graduated after our family had been affiliated with Viz for like 12 years
Hmm.
or something like that. So that was once he walked across that stage and it was done, we're like, damn, we're done, and we haven't really had a reason to even go back to Viz for anything. So yeah, but it's just the closing of chapters, whether it's Viz or our brothers at Bellarmine, is it's bittersweet.
Yeah, for sure.
Your yeah, your brother's doing the virtual graduation, but last year didn't Bellarmine do like a sort of socially distanced walk on the field? Are they doing that again this year?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think because I don't know how because I've heard pretty different things about how they're even managing classes. Like some classes are, I think they're doing like in person. I think they're doing like some classes in person and some
Yeah.
aren't or something like that. Um, Last year I think they did like I don't know if it was a walk or if it was just like a socially distanced like drive by kind of thing.
Oh, was it?
Um,
Maybe that's what it was more
I think it might
so.
have been it. I'm not sure, but this year, I mean, if they are doing an in-person thing, I think they had him rent out his cap and gown actually, so it might be
Oh, okay.
more of an in-person thing. Which if that's the case, I'm happy to go. As weird as it is, but I think they might be doing. I thought they might be doing an online thing too.
Gotcha.
Um, I also think they're kind of banking on things opening up again. soon, which I don't think is going to happen, but I guess
Yeah.
probably it's hopeful. Um, Especially because like all the teachers are a little older.
Hmm.
So I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. That's just kind of been the name of the game the past year.
Yeah.
It's like it feels like everything changes every single day. Yeah, I hope that things will. I think expecting things to kind of open up like towards the end of the fall is a bit much. I could see maybe like beginning of next year. At least I'm thinking mainly with theater, just because
Mhm.
like it's a very you're sitting right next elbow to people in a small enclosed environment. And I can't see that opening up in the fall, even though other things very well might, just because hopefully by then a lot of people will be vaccinated. But like
Mhm.
for the more indoor type things like graduations or theater. I can't imagine those types of things will open up until like early next year. But I don't know. Maybe I'll be shown otherwise. I guess, like you just said, we'll have to see. By the way, have you gotten vaccinated? Just totally curious.
I haven't yet,
Hmm.
just because I haven't been since I'm not working in the medical field anymore. I just have not been on that list.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, right. Yeah.
yeah.
Never
I'm hoping to get it soon because I think they're opening it up earlier than expected to more people, and so
mind.
um, and I mean like even if I'm not working in the medical field, I'm working in the food business, so it's like
Yeah.
I'm still fairly exposed. So hopefully I'll get it sometime soon. Um, yeah, I was talking to some people about like one of our customers. We have a lot of customers for like nurses and doctors and stuff, and they're talking about how their clinics are going to opening it up just to like everyone,
Hmm.
regardless of what tier you're in. So yeah, hopefully that pans out soon too. I don't know too much about that though.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really either. I'm the one I am kind of following is the Johnson and Johnson vaccine, just because
Yeah.
like there's no way to talk about this without sounding like an anti-vaxxer, and I'm not. It's just knowing that like I don't know if you've been seeing that the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines were causing some severe reactions in those that have a history of anaphylactic shock. Have you been seeing stuff like that?
Um, I heard it wasn't super common.
Is it not? I don't know if it is or not. I was worried when I saw it.
Um, yeah, I haven't heard too much. I mean, I haven't been like, reading up about too much, but I haven't. I know there's been some allergic reactions to it, and if you have an anaphylactic attack before, I guess the chances are pretty likely you're gonna have it again.
Mm,
Um, but it's like I don't think. I mean, obviously, I don't know what's in it, but I don't think that the allergy rate is that high. Like, if you
yeah,
get an anaphylactic attack, it's going to be through allergies. It's not going to be through like this is killing you, you know.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and so I don't
yeah.
think the allergy rate's like very high at all. I think it's like less than 1%,
Mhm.
which I guess is enough to scare people. Um,
Yeah, I mean that's all it really did for me. Like I'm still gonna go get it.
yeah,
I just like
yeah,
seeing those things was like, oh. And I brought up Johnson and Johnson because I hadn't heard of anything with that one in particular. So like if given the choice, which I don't even know if you can pick, I would like to do that one. But either
mm,
way, dude, like once I'm available to get a vaccine, uh, like put it in my neck, bro, because I'm trying to be over this. Like, I'm trying to get over this. But yeah, no, my barber has a severe shellfish allergy,
uh,
and she had talked about how she was a little worried about taking the vaccine, and
uh,
that was kind of the first I had heard of it, and so I like looked around, and it was spooks, but like you said, I'm still gonna take it because I don't anticipate it'll kill me, and I want to go out. But yeah, I was just
yeah,
curious if you had heard of that. I always hesitate to ask people if they'd heard of that because there's no way to frame it like
yeah,
not an anti-vax or like I'm an anti-vaxxer, you know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess I should read more about it than I do, but I think in this case, um, I don't know. I feel like I'm just so over
Hmm.
COVID at this point,
Hmm.
even from a medical standpoint, um, that I'm just kind of like it's a vaccine, things will happen.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think as a like someone pretending to be a medical professional, I probably should read up more than I do. Um, yeah, I haven't heard too much about it. Reaction wise, I'm not that scared about it. I think it's
Yeah.
vegan, so if you're so if your barber has a shop with allergy, I think she'll be okay. Um, yeah, I mean, even if I get an anaphylactic shock, just give me an EpiPen. I'll call it good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel you. I cannot wait to get vaccinated, bro. So I feel like I'm turning this all into about COVID, the
Oh
pandemic.
no, that's okay. Uh, you know, I'm not the best person to ask about this stuff, but I better than average, I guess.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I need to change my settings. Oh my God. Okay, that's what was going on. My computer started to do a scan in the background, and it was making this call very choppy, but we're good now.
Okay.
I told it to go away. Cool. Well, I'm gonna ask the question that we were just talking about.
Okay.
What have you been up to, man? What have you been doing?
Not much. It's okay. So I guess for the people watching, I applied to medical school, and then I'm still waiting to hear back from 2 schools. And then in January, I was kind of debating about whether or not to, because I didn't even go on interviews in however many schools I applied to. So I was kind of debating taking the MCAT again and then just like really banking on that, or just kind of like putting things on hold for a little bit, seeing what happens, and just kind of waiting. Turns out I did take the MCAT again. I don't think I did any better, but I didn't, just for the sake of doing what I could when I could do it, as opposed to kind of quote unquote giving up. And so, yeah, I don't think I'll change anything. Logistically, I'm still waiting. I would have waited either way to hear back from those 2 schools. I'm not really expecting to get into either one, but I don't want to like start anything new, like a job or going back to school or anything, before I hear back from those schools, just in case.
Yeah.
So I just been kind of hanging out, getting back into, which is kind of nice. I don't have to stress out as much anymore. So I've been able to get back and starting to get back into older hobbies like drawing and dancing, and like I've been sparring with Kelly. I've been getting really into martial arts lately again, which is nice, because I forgot how much I love those. And so yeah, and then just helping out my parents at the shop once a week. But I think they're trying to replace me, so which is actually also kind of nice. It's kind of funny because like my brothers are, I think they just finished finals for the semester, and so, and like one brother getting ready to move on to the next junior year, and the other one getting ready for college. I see them studying, and it's like bio or like chem, and it's like stuff I should probably know as a medical school student. But I'm like kind of trying to sneak past them because I'm listening to them. I'm like, man, I don't remember any of this stuff. I probably should know it. Hoping that they don't ask me any questions. And so far, I've been safe. And I mean, their grades are better than mine anyway. So hopefully that continues. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm always curious to hear what like hobbies people have been picking up during the pandemic, if any. What kind of stuff do you like to draw? I don't know that I've actually seen any of your art.
Oh, don't waste your time. Uh, it's it's not something I talk about that often, but I've been doing it for a while. It's kind of a long story, but I draw mainly like anime-ish type stuff, like that kind of art style. I've been trying to venture more into like realism, mainly realism, but it's been really difficult for me. I think I'm just a lot more comfortable with the anime stuff, and not just like anime characters. So like I would say most of it has been like just characters from shows or like manga that I like to watch. Like some specific backgrounds too. I've been trying to work on, but now it's kind of been more into character design, like designing my own characters and backgrounds and things like
Oh,
that.
sweet.
Still kind of in that, trying to find my own art style. And so like, that's why I kind of try and copy characters a lot, is to try and like maybe pick up characteristics from those art styles and incorporate them into my own. So yeah, I don't really see that going anywhere, but I do like it. I have like a sketchbook half full, so that I've been working on for a
Oh,
while.
wow.
So yeah, yeah,
Tight.
yeah.
I would love to be able to draw, man. I don't have the patience to learn though, which is not good. It's not a good quality to have. But like I look at, art that some of my friends do, like Sean, for example, draws a lot. And I'm like, wow, I would love to do this kind of stuff, man. I just don't have it in me. I've always wondered, so like you're just kind of going off, you're not like learning from anything, are you? Other than like kind of copying things down and taking inspiration? Or do you watch like, videos?
During the start of the pandemic, I started watching videos and like, getting books, just because I felt like it was kind of like, it was so informal for so long. I think especially trying to go more into a realistic art style, I felt like I kind of needed to like a little bit more formal training, just to get the basics. I felt like I should know basics or techniques if I wanted to like be better at it. But I think even after learning those, even after learning like the basics of basics, I didn't really feel like it helped my art that much. So I still use it sometimes, and so I kind of stopped since then. It's more just drawing repeatedly, and it does take a lot of time. Like if I stop drawing for, let's say I draw a picture and then I stop drawing for like 2 weeks and I try and draw another picture, I just can't do it. It takes me like a long time of drawing every day before I get back into like the quality I like.
Yeah.
So it's rough, and like especially with like Sean's pictures, like they're so detailed. Things must take forever. And I don't think he has any formal training either. So yeah, big props to him. I think it's people like Sean that actually told me to draw more.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what got me into the first place. And being like seeing talented people, like man, I I wish I was that talented. But
it's just crazy seeing, and it's past drawing as well. Like just they're wired differently, you know what I mean? Like they can look at a blank page and they know exactly what to do with it. You know, it's like I don't like, there's a block in between. Like if I tried to like transmit what I had in my brain to a piece of paper, bro, like it's not getting through this wall.
yeah.
Whereas other people will like look at it and like, oh, bet, and then they just go straight Picasso on it. It's insane and it's really cool. Towards the beginning of the pandemic, kind of like you were saying, I saw that there were a lot of openings, and I think they're called like MOOCs. They're like massive online open courses or something like that universities around the States and even I think overseas, they kind of just open it up for the public so you can take like online classes. I was like, oh, this is dope. This is really cool. And I threw a bunch on my like wish list and I never did any of them, but one of them was drawing. And yeah, I guess that's the end of that story. I almost started and I didn't. But it was cool to see that those things exist out there. If you're interested in them, they're out there, man.
Yeah, actually, I really want to get into painting, because like just the different like brush techniques and like the ways they use color, like I feel like you can generate such a more, nothing against drawing, but I think you can just generate so much more feeling and depth to your art with painting. But it's such a hard medium to work with. I think I'm one of those people who gets really interested in a lot of things, but just as easily like loses interest in those things. And painting is just one of the things where I was like, wasn't naturally good at it. Like I was a drawing. I was like, I'm good. I don't have patience.
Yeah, I'm the same exact way with drawing. Well, with painting though, it would be kind of cool to go to one of those things. I don't know what they're called, but like you go, you get like wine and cheese.
Yeah, the sip and paint classes. Yeah.
Yeah. I lucky I want to do one of those. because that's probably the only time I'll actually sit down and commit to trying something.
Yeah.
And it's probably the best shot I have at making it look decent.
Dude, Kyle went to one of those,
Yeah.
and I saw his drawings. His paintings are pretty nice, not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like people that have never like at least from what I've seen, people that have never I don't know if Kyle has before, but like other people that I know for sure have not picked up a paintbrush before, and for one reason or another go to one of these events, all of a sudden bring home something that is worth like 50 grand. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow. It's like I want to do that, and I'm not gonna tell anybody that I cop. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's just cool. I want to do that. I like what you said too about like um, painting being a little more expressive is I think the gist you were kind of getting at, like
Yeah.
compared to drawing, or like you can do a little more with it with the brush strokes and all that kind of things.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite art form?
Favorite art form?
Yeah, which is such a big question, but like, you know, and that can encompass drawing, dancing, even martial arts, you know, writing. Like what makes you feel the most connected to what you're doing, and why?
Um, I'll say probably martial arts.
Yeah.
Karate specifically, just because I did it for so long. But I think that's more of a sentimental thing, because I got into martial arts was like 3 or 4 years old. I got interested in them when I was like that young. I'm just watching those old kung fu movies with my dad. It was like kind of the only way like we talked to each other was watching those movies. And I remember like seeing those guys, you know, flying across the screen, breathing fire, like shooting these mystic beams. I'm like, wow, I was totally enamored. I was like, wow, I want to be like that.
Yeah.
Um, I want to be I want to be an anime protagonist, right? And it's like it's that kind of thing that got me into anime and into dance and into mixed martial arts, which I also watch with my dad, and like all these things. Um, and like with karate, especially because it has so much history to it, and because there's so many um, intricacies, I guess you could say, like spiritual aspects, I guess you could say. Like with something like I mean, I guess I can't speak really, but for something like Muay Thai, like kickboxing, it's very you learn how to punch, you learn how to kick, right? But karate, it's you learn how to punch, you learn to kick, but you also learn like 5 different applications for a punch, like 6 different applications for a kick, and like the history behind those moves, and like how you breathe, like exert your energy. It's like all these spiritual, like self-improvement things that really helped me get into it, as opposed to if I were just doing the movements. And it's something that, and I unfortunately had to stop taking classes my freshman year of college, just for like time and money reasons.
Yeah.
And getting back into it now, in the mixed martial arts form has been really quite interesting and really revitalizing, and kind of reminding me of all these things that I liked that I
Yeah.
kind of unfortunately gave up at some point in time. So
It's got to feel so good. Like I've been
yeah.
in that boat before where you have to kind of ditch something that you really enjoy for X amount of time. And when you come back to it, it's almost like you're kind of jumping back in time. You know what I mean? Like it's just such a, like you said, revitalizing. It's such a fresh breath of air.
Yeah.
That stuff feels good, man. Yeah, I'm glad that you're getting back into it. You and Yale have been sparring, you said?
Yeah. Not as much as I would like, but yeah. We've been sparring every once in a while at my place. It's been kind of, we were actually hoping to join a gym once the pandemic opened, just as a way to like lose weight, but the pandemic didn't stop. So we've been just kind of doing that at my house, which has been fun too. And it's definitely interesting to see it, because like he doesn't have karate experience, so it's kind of interesting comparing like the traditional karate that I did to like a more mixed style like his. You know, more applicable. So yeah, it's been really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
I would like to join a gym. And I think I honestly would if I didn't love theater so much. Because that takes I don't know when gyms meet. But I imagine it's like in the evenings, probably around the time I'd be doing theater stuff. So like, I mean, if I had to pick between the two, I would do theater. But I think I would really like to try it. Like maybe a day or maybe a time when I'm taking a break from acting, that'd be a lot of fun. Just to because it'd be so different. I used to do judo with Sean, but that was kind of just every now and then.
Mhm.
I would go to his gym. I didn't go regularly at all.
Yeah.
But to actually commit to it for a little bit would be kind of neat. But I guess can't think about that much now that everything's closed. Are you thinking of going? Because have you done jumps? You've done gyms before, I assume, right?
Kinda. I did so I was part of a taekwondo dojo
Uh,
for 4 years, and then I did karate for 8 years in specific, like in dojo. But I haven't done any like MMA gyms or grappling or anything like that.
Gotcha. Okay. I was gonna ask if you were planning on like going back to those places you might have been before.
Um, I don't know. I I really enjoy it, and I really love those communities, and like I miss it. But I don't know if I would want to, because right now my main focus is getting to med school, right? And it's
Sure.
kind of
Yeah.
hard for me to do those things while I'm working, or while I'm going to school. And I know a lot of people do, and I have a lot of respect for those people. But I think for me, especially like when I was scribing, I was working. My hours were like 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. or like 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Like it just kind of conflicted, or
Yeah.
when it didn't conflict, the rare times it didn't conflict, I was just so dead. I
Mhm.
couldn't do it, and so um, maybe once the pandemic's over, if I don't have anything going on, I would like to do it. But uh, as of now, I want to focus more on kind of pushing my career forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, like we'll see. Depends on like what I'll, if I go to get into school, or like if I do a job, like what my hours are and things like that. So yeah.
This is kind of a total tangent, but what was that program you told me about? It's like it's something about like doctors abroad or something like that.
Oh, Doctors Without Borders.
Oh yeah, yeah. Is that something you're still interested in?
I want to do a little bit more research on that, because I think so in terms of concept, yeah, I would definitely love to go across the world and help those in need.
Hmm.
Because like as much as I would love to like work here, for example, be a doctor here, for example, Tacoma has a bunch of hospitals. Like they don't really need me. I would rather go somewhere that really needs the help.
Sure.
Um, but Doctors Without Borders specifically, I think there's a lot of talk about. I think that doctors are great. Like I've met a couple of doctors who work for them, and they're very, always when they talk to me, were very wholesome and very hopeful, and like had their heart in the right place. But when you talk to like the representatives, so not the doctors, it's very uh, consumeristic. It's very like, how can we get? It's like, hey, how much money you want to donate? Like, oh, we can support through. We don't have any resources for you to like be a doctor or something like that. We do have resources for you to, you know, advertise or donate or things like that. Which is, I understand they do need a lot of money because they're a non-for-profit, but at the same time, when you put that much emphasis on the money, it makes me a little skeptical. I've
Hmm.
heard a lot of things about, and I've read a lot of couple of things about how the money doesn't go to isn't used well
Sure.
uh, in that organization as well. So want to do a little bit of research. If not doing an organization like, if not with an organization that does that, maybe just working as a quote unquote normal doctor and then going on mission trips every once in a while, um,
Yeah.
every couple of years. So yeah.
That organization just always stood out to me because I really, really like the concept of that, and I hadn't heard of it until you told me about it. But
Mhm.
yeah, I can understand the hesitation if there's some uncertainty about the business side of it.
Yeah.
Hmm, interesting. And you went on a mission trip to the Philippines like a year ago, right?
Yeah, yeah. I went
Probably at this point.
March last year.
Oh, it was just
Um,
okay last year.
yeah, with Jonah and Yele and their team. That was cool too. I think that's really solidified me wanting to go abroad, even if we didn't really do much. But yeah, it was my first time out of the country except for Canada, and so that was really fun. It was really cool to see a different country's like medical system, which is
Hmm.
the kind of thing that I'm really interested in. It was really awesome. Like to just like work with the patients there, work with the kids, and like I didn't really. we personally didn't do very much compared to like the doctors there, and like even the doctors didn't really do much, to be honest. Um, but even just that little, seeing how much of a difference even that little bit made, I think was really really cool and really solidified me wanting to do more missions like that. So hopefully I can do it again in the future as a doctor. Um, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I don't think I'd asked you about that trip. How long were you there?
I was there for a week, a little over
Oh,
a
okay.
week.
I thought it was longer.
Jonah and Yoli there for I think 2 weeks
Okay.
because they got new tattoos. So.
Oh yeah, I was about to ask about that. Cool. Yeah. A mission trip would be cool.
Yeah. What about you? Have you been doing anything new? I mean, you've been streaming, but I guess other than that, anything anything new?
Sorry, I was closing something out. Yeah, the streaming thing is I have been doing that so casually, and it's likely gonna, I mean, we'll see. I've got a bit of a rebranding, and by rebranding, I mean actual branding, because there's just kind of there that a good friend of mine is working on, and I'm really excited for that. The thing is, like, so I like the idea of it. I like hanging out with, my friends and anybody that wants to come by and hang out and see what I'm playing and just chat. That's all super cool. The thing is, I usually, kind of like you were saying, I usually have such low energy after work, especially like being in an office. Well, I mean, I guess my bedroom is my office, but sitting down looking at a computer screen for 9 hours out of the day already, and then having to like stream for a few hours. Like I love video games, I always have. But again, it goes back to that work versus play kind of thing. You know what I mean? Where like I feel like, okay, if I have to stream, then I don't want to, you know what I mean? And like usually at the end of the day, I'm kind of drained and I just kind of want to do what I want to do, which that very well may include video games, but I don't want to have to feel performative, you know what I mean? When I'm broadcasting to people. But yeah, no, I've been doing that. I do enjoy it. All that being said, it's just it kind of has to be on my own time, which I think is fine. I'm not in it to grow or to even be recognized as a streamer. I just do it super casually. This is pretty cool, actually. Jacob, Justine, and Kyle. This is a little dusty. I haven't used this in like a week. Got me this for Christmas. This is actually very dusty. That is a lot of dust for 1 week. Got me this drum pad.
Oh, sick.
Dude, it's super cool, man. It's got all types of different kits on it, different sounds.
Wow.
I don't have the cable to plug it into my computer yet, but that is a thing I can do.
Wow.
So I can actually make music with Jacob. Yeah, so you've got the crash cymbal, the ride, you've got the toms. This is the, this is the snare. This is the hi-hat, which is kind of confusing. Oh wait, I just realized I'm off. This is the snare, and this is the hi-hat, which is a bit confusing because typically those are reversed. So like usually you cross your arms and your right hand is on the hi-hat and you're doing like eighth notes or whatever, and your left hand is slapping on the snare, but it's a little harder to get that with this, but still, it's great. And yeah, there's the other floor tom. It's a good time, dude. I've got the pedals for the hi-hat and the kick drum under this foldable chair here too. So that was a super cool gift. So I've been getting into that.
Awesome.
What else? My guitar is there. I have kind of been playing that.
Okay.
In terms of other things, what else have I been doing, man? Oh, actually at the beginning, I do need to revisit this though. This is a problem I have. Like there's a lot of things that I start but don't finish.
Yeah.
That's an issue. But one thing that I started doing was taking a creative writing class from a professor at NYU that does screenplays. And it was called Writing the Short. It was short story formats. And I brainstormed a bunch of ideas and I was sending them in for feedback. Then I just stopped, which is really stupid. That was really pissing away an opportunity. But I did, but I still have so I might not be able to get the active feedback anymore because this was, like I said, at the beginning of the pandemic. um, but I still have like the pitches for the different stories that I have, and I do want to revisit them at some point. So that was a lot of fun, and I've kind of been missing doing that. So I might actually pick that up again here soon. I guess in terms of like hobbies that I've picked up over the quarantine, a lot of them share that story though, of like I pick it up for a few weeks or a month and then I just kind of abandon it.
Yeah.
Which isn't good, but that's just that's the truth. What else? There is something that I want to try, and I think this will be a lot of fun, and I do foresee this panning out. With the Twitch stuff that I have been doing, I think it'd be really cool to essentially like have a weekly podcast type stream where I bring you in or anybody in and just kind of pick their brains and chat and talk. Essentially what you're doing, just live. I think that'd be cool because I love watching your videos. I'm not just saying that as a friend. Like, it's really fun. One of the gifts I almost got you was I'm not even sure I got the right anime when I was looking at it, but your episode with Declan, you guys were talking about Hyoka, I think it was called, in anime. I was like, I'm gonna get him a Hyoka tapestry, but there weren't any. And I was like, all right, well, One Piece. But no, yeah, I really like watching those episodes because it's a good opportunity to kind of hang out with you guys without having the opportunity. Hey, that's good.
Thank you for the hat, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I got very worried after I got it. I was like, does he already have this? I'm really scared he might already have this. Because I thought I had seen you with a hat similar, but I don't think so.
No, I don't have a lot of, it's kind of weird. As much as I love anime, I don't have a lot of like anime stuff. So
gotcha.
Yeah, it's fine. Great
hat. But yeah, no, I really like the videos that you do. I like the concept behind them. I was like, I want to also do stuff like that. And I've been trying to figure out how to kind of differentiate it from your thing, so it's not the exact same. So I don't have anything actionable now. It's just an idea that I've had. I'd love to have you on at some point.
Oh, yeah, love to be on.
But yeah, it's whereas other more productive people have probably picked a hobby and developed it, I have tried everything and kind of just abandoned everything. So that's been my thing. One thing that I have been doing a lot is going on a bunch of walks around the neighborhood.
Oh,
it's been really nice. Just a simple thing, but just getting out, getting some fresh air, hanging out at the park down the street. It's super nice. I'm probably going to do that after this, honestly, because the sun is out for now. But yeah, that's been that. Yeah, it is a difficult question to answer in COVID, just because like I feel like there's not a lot of tangible things that I can talk about that I've kept with. I got a bunch of acting books, but the thing is, I got them right before the pandemic hit, and like I read a couple of them, and I still can read them. The thing is, though, like just the way my brain works, like with acting books in particular, I like to read them and then immediately apply them, just so I can, tangibly try it out. And I was doing that for a little bit. Like one of the books I got is a book from Michael Shurtleff called The Audition. And so I read that during Laura, and I would read it while I was at rehearsals during Laura. So like in between scenes, if I wasn't on or if we were taking a break, I would just go backstage away from everybody, kind of read, highlight things, like, okay, let's, try it out and stuff like that. That was a lot of fun. And then I was like, yo, I want to do this more. So I got a bunch of different books that have just kind of been sitting here that I could definitely still read. I just feel like with acting, it's a lot better to read them and practice them kind of simultaneously. But that's honestly just an excuse. I could easily just read it and reread it later.
Have you thought about incorporating acting into your streaming?
Yeah, that's actually, I guess this is kind of spoilery, but that's in large part what the branding is going to be.
Okay.
It's going to be sort of like vintage theater like 1920s type thing. And I've sent one of the people I think you chatted with in the chat, Jilly Bean,
Mhm.
a regular of mine in my friend Nick's streams, and just a good friend, a good person. She's a incredible artist. And I was like, hey, are you open to commissions? And she was like, yep. So we're collaborating on that. I sent her like a bunch of inspiration and ideas that I had, and she's been sending me like logo ideas and stuff, and it's really, really cool. I'm super excited to like launch that. I probably won't go live until I have all that, just
Mhm.
because I think it'd be a nice breath of fresh air to resume streaming with a brand new setup. The name will change as well, not drastically, but it will change. Um, so yeah, that will be incorporated in terms of the brand. Another person I watch is a good friend of mine. His name is Kiwi Feet on Twitch. He's also an actor, and we did Taming of the Shrew together. I don't
Oh,
know if you remember character names, but he was sort of the main dude, Petruchio, kind of the douchey
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Um, we became good friends during Taming of the Shrew, and have become even better friends through hanging out in Twitch. And we were just talking about that like a week ago. Like, there's really no reason we couldn't do like improv or something like that in a stream. The formatting would have to be obviously specific for the format, but like we could do it, I think. And that was in large part because he just hit 200 followers, and he had a 12-hour celebration stream, and on that stream we freestyled. So we were like, well, if we can do this impromptu, why can't we do like acting impromptu? So the seeds of that conversation have been planted. We'll see where it goes. It's kind of hard to do it. I think it's something we can explore more once we can actually hang out in person and feel comfortable doing it.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would definitely like to play up the theater stuff with the streams. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Cool. And yeah, like you talk about watching my videos, but I actually also really enjoy watching your streams. It's a shame that you can't do them more regularly.
Yeah,
Uh,
sorry.
no, I mean it's fine. I get it, and it's like I'm one speak. I haven't uploaded a video in forever either. So, um, but I think it's really nice to uh, again just kind of doing this and just like chilling and talking to you. I like having on the backgrounds while I do other stuff, just to have someone there. I think you're really natural at it. Being able to really, I think when I first went on, like first like your stream, I was actually pretty surprised at like how naturally you were able to, I guess, pick a conversation with people, and really naturally continue that while playing a game. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, it was really cool. I really, really enjoy your streams. I'm hoping, or I'm looking forward to, I guess, where it comes in the future, with the new rebranding and like all the new activities that you'll be doing. Yeah, I mean, if you have me on, I'm looking forward to being on it as well.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah,
definitely. I mean, honestly, dude, I think it'd be fun to have you to be the first one, if you don't
oh,
mind.
amazing.
I was thinking about that like before this, before we went and recorded this. Like, dude, it'd be a lot of fun to have Michael on, and like, why not have him on first? Um, Again, I have to figure out what that structure looks like why we would do it live as opposed to a recording, um, and how we can use that live medium to make that stream a little more, I don't know, just different. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I have thinking to do with it, but yeah, no, if you're down, I'd be super happy to have you on first.
Yeah, I'd love to be. Be an
It's in large
honor.
part because you put so much work into like your videos and interviewing other people and talking to them. I was like, yo, let's talk about Michael.
Michael, Michael hasn't been doing much, so it's okay. But
Neither has
uh,
Joel,
yeah,
but it's just
Uh,
I think it'd be fun, but we'll see. Yeah,
yeah,
we'll see when that all launches and stuff. Um, yeah, thanks. And thanks about the comment about feeling natural at streaming too. It's hard for me. I felt that I've struggled with it just because the reason I like playing games, I've explained this on stream too, but like the reason I like playing games is it's a great escapism. Like
mhm,
I'm able to kind of just turn off my mind from other things and just focus on this story, with these characters and what's going on in that universe. And so I get really sucked in the same way I would with like movies. And so I don't talk the same way that I wouldn't talk during a movie. But obviously that doesn't make it, that's not conducive for a good stream. So I've been trying to pick games to where I feel comfortable doing both. And I'm glad that it sounds natural. Yeah, I appreciate that. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, I hope to do that kind of live stream in like no more than a month with you.
Okay.
I'm hoping when we can kind of launch it. But as the theme of this has been, we'll see.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm saying the same thing over again. But like, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. If you need, I'm totally down to be in a stream whenever you want me to. I like talking about myself, so and I like talking with you. And I think it's kind of similar to you. I'm hoping to. I've said this a million times, but I'm hoping to like kind of change my formats of videos as well, and upload a lot more frequently. I've actually been hoping to like kind of not stop these kind of videos, but like switch more to like short skits and I don't know, it's more creative formats other than just like talking to a camera.
Sure.
But then COVID hit and we can't meet up, and Kyle moved and then we can't meet up. So,
yeah.
So hopefully when things clear up, we'll be able to do that a little more, and my skills in recording and editing get a little better. I'll be able to do a little bit more. But yeah, I'd love to have you on for your editing skills as well coming up. For again short films or like kind of games or anything like that. Really kind of exploring the world of videography.
Yeah, totally. Super down. I saw you mention that you were thinking of doing a short film when you were talking to Kyle and I. I thought that was really cool. Do you like? Is it spoilery to ask like what you were thinking?
No. I was kind of I didn't really have anything fleshed out, but I was thinking of because when I was talking when you brought the idea of doing a video kind of remotely, and I was thinking seeing all these other videos, these like podcasts and these other videos where people are kind of doing the remote thing, and maybe think a lot about modes of communication, and how we went from, I guess, like kind of evolution of that from like meeting up in person to chatting online to now this, and how like before, even when we had like these modes of communication available, we would still prefer to meet up. And so I guess kind of doing like a short skit on I think I would have it like it's just again a short skit about how we communicate, or like how not being able to see each other in person has affected us. I didn't really have a skit or like a really great storyline panned out, which is why I was like, if we do it, it's going to be a long process. I think especially because of the formatting, I was thinking of having it all be like kind of shot individually, so we would never really meet. So within the script, we wouldn't really meet in person ever. I don't think we'd be able to regardless, but we wouldn't really be meeting a person. It'd be more like it'd be shots of ourselves and like one of the things that we are going through individually, and then contrasting that to like when we were meeting, three of us talking together in a Zoom call, essentially. Something like that. I don't think I'm going to do that ever because it's a lot of work and it's going to be a pain to like organize that. But I thought it was an interesting concept if you guys were down to do it.
Yeah, dude, I'm on board to try out anything. I know you were joking about me being a guinea pig, but I like being a guinea pig. I don't feel like one. I like experimenting around with things. So yeah, whatever you have, dude. Super down.
Awesome. Yeah, I have another video Kyle planned out. And that'll be kind of dumb. And then after that, we'll see where things go. Yeah.
Why? Just I'm curious. Why do you want to shift from the format you have been doing to more skit stuff? Is it just you're tired of these type of things, or you just want to try it out?
Um, I don't think I ever really wanted to do vlogs in the first place.
Oh, okay.
Um, it was more like when I think of videos, I just thought like I like watching vlogs, but I think for me personally, I would rather do something a little more interactive and creative than just talking into a camera. And
Right.
so, but when I first started out, I didn't have the people or the editing skills. I still don't have the people editing skills, but I didn't have the resources essentially to do that. Um, and so I just vlogged, and then ended up because it was the easiest thing. It was a thing that I wanted to. Because that was another thing I really wanted to get the videos out there quickly, and so it's just the easiest thing for me to just record myself and do. Um, and then they eventually evolved into these more one-on-one conversations, which I also like a lot more, and I would love to continue regardless. Um, but yeah, I think just creatively, I want to try a lot more things. Um, I have a lot of ideas for sketches and films that I want to try out, and I just feel a little. I'd like to express, like, I have a lot of things I want to talk about, but I feel like I would like to express them in ways other than just speaking to a camera, very
Sure.
bluntly. Um, so yeah, and we'll see what again we'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
Um, maybe I'll never do it. I don't know if I really have the patience to do that, but yeah, I would love to work on it in the future once things clear up a little bit.
Mhm. I mean, even just brainstorming ideas, that's like half the fun, just the creative process, at least for me, at least of trying
Yeah.
to think of like how can we make this exciting? What does it look like?
Mm,
Just experimenting around is cool. But yeah, I'm
mm,
excited to see what comes next.
thank you.
I think you froze. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear
I
me?
can hear you, but you're not moving.
Oh, uh,
You're back.
oh.
Hi. Sorry, that was weird. Okay, yeah, we're good now. Trying to think of there was some other question that I had. It had something to do with art, but I can't remember what it was. That's okay. Maybe once it comes back, I can use that in our first video.
Okay.
I need to start thinking of that. Yeah. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah,
Okay.
what is that, Martin? I actually had something I want to talk about. I guess going back to arguing with the art, but also like I guess the original topic of the video, like growing up. Um, I was watching this video. I forgot the guy's name, but it was like it's a magic video. It's a guy on Fool Us, Friend Teller, if you're familiar with the show. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and there's a guy who went on it, and he said something. I don't think he really meant it to be that thought provoking, but he talked about how when he was a little kid, he saw a guy do a magic trick, and it amazed him, right? Um, and so like he asked him to teach him, and like he bought all these magic books and like all these tricks, and he learned the tricks, and uh, he enjoyed the process of learning the magic, and he learned enjoying all the secret techniques and like entertaining people on that.
Hmm.
But he lost the childhood uh, wonder, I guess, like the curiosity and like the feeling of magic, right? Because now whenever he sees a magic trick, he can't really see it the same way. You know, he's not seeing, oh, this is magic. He's seeing this is a double lift, and this is he's controlling the top project. And I kind of really resonated with that, especially since I do a little bit of magic myself. And I was thinking, yeah, I really love magic. I love the fact that that you're, especially if you're doing something in front of someone and they don't realize that you're doing it, right? And doing that, you're creating this amazing effect that blows people's minds that they just really can't get, right? I love generating that feeling of you know something is there, but you just don't know it's there. Um, but I think that's really different than seeing it as genuine magic, enjoying it that way.
Hmm.
And that made me think a lot about growing up and like all these things that I still enjoy, but for a lot different reasons than I did as a kid, and like how I lost all that. How growing up you kind of had to give up a lot of that, uh, even not give up, but like use that imagination, that curiosity in a lot of different ways um, than when you were younger.
Hmm.
And I was thinking, I was actually going to make a video about this, but I didn't really know where to go with it. And so, just that idea of like, I don't know if how I see things now and how I enjoy things now is any better or worse than my views of them when I was a kid. Uh, but it does make me a little sad to say that it is so different now. And so I don't know if you felt that same way about like movies or anything like that, but that's just something I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, that's interesting. I I resonate with that as far as concerns go. Like with acting in particular, I haven't hit that point with acting, but that's something that I'm always afraid of. And that kind of ties into what we were talking about earlier at some point about work crossing with play, right? And how I worry that I might lose that infatuation with acting if I were to go at as super hard as like that magician did, or as would require of a full-time actor. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Um, I it's something I worry about it primarily if I were to go to grad school, which is funny because that's what I want to do, is go to grad school
Mm-hmm.
for acting. But the thing with grad school is, like, I want to go to UW's PATP, which is a professional actor training program. That is 6 days a week of 14-hour days of acting for four, two, some amount of years. I don't think it's 4. It might be like 2 or 3. Um, I've been burnt out with acting before, but like minorly, and I'm able to kind of just take a break and, do something else. I worry that with that intensive of a training regimen, I would get burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like with that intensive of a program, I worry that I might not return to it, and it might always be dead. I don't think that would happen because I love acting so much, but it is a concern that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, I keep moving the laptop. As it is now, uh, the thing with acting is every single time you do it, even if it's the same scene, if you're really in the moment, it's different every single time. And that always breathes new life into it. It's give and take with other. That's one of the reasons I love the Taming of the Shrewcast so much, is because we were all there, and we were there to play, to try things every single time we hopped on stage. And when you're willing to do that, when you're willing to give to your scene partners and they're willing to take that and return it to yes and that, it's the most amazing, most connecting thing ever. And that feeling of genuine connectedness, that keeps it fresh for me. So like, yeah, I read books, and I listen to podcasts, and I do my research on like how to act and stuff like that, and like the techniques behind it. But that has not killed the love of actually doing it for me. Just because just the nature of that work, that type of work, and the connection it asks of you, um, it's always so cathartic. Uh, I don't know that necessarily you were going towards theater with that story, but that's immediately where my mind went to. Um, so sorry if that was a detour.
No, that's okay. Um, I think that's a good point too. I think what's no, I think you make a good point, and that is something that like we talked about a lot, and that I also want to talk about. But I think I'm thinking about it more in the sense of like, I guess we were talking, if we were to talk about theater,
Mhm.
uh, and in cinema, let's say, in general, do you think that being in theater and learning, um, kind of all the backstage techniques has really changed how you watch movies and like how you kind of go about your work um, compared to like watching it, totally innocent of a blind eye. Um, and like, do you think that's any like better or worse than, that kind of prior stages of your enjoyment of the medium, if that makes
Yeah,
sense?
it does. I think I understand what you're asking. And it hasn't changed it for me, like with film in particular, just because I love storytelling so much. It hasn't that effect, that degree of, magic hasn't worn off for me yet, because I'm always excited to see how people. I'm always curious as to how people tell the stories that they tell, why they tell the stories that they tell, and why they choose to structure it in the ways that they do. And it's been like that for a long time. Like before, I mean, as far back as whenever Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire came out, whatever grade I was in at that point in my life, before school, I'd wake up like an hour before I needed to. And instead of watching the movie, I would just watch the behind the scenes features, because I thought it was so cool seeing, like Daniel Radcliffe walk around with the script on set and walk through like wardrobe or the art department, and people are working on, the set. And the same thing with the Star Wars movies. I did that a lot with episode 3. Is like, man, I get to watch these people design the set, design Vader's uh, costume, and even in terms of like the writing and the storytelling itself. I loved listening to George Lucas talk about why he felt the need to tell this story and how it relates to what's going on now, and how it follows, how like the story of Star Wars is essentially the same story as the Odyssey, because it follows the hero's journey. So I like those kinds of things. I can definitely understand how like other people, it might kill the magic behind it if you catch a glimpse of behind the scenes stuff. But to me, it's so fascinating, and I honestly seek that stuff out because that rejuvenates me, because it gets me thinking in different ways, and it gives me a new perspective, and it allows me to try out different things, whether it's like an idea for a story or how to do a scene, or even when I'm sitting watching a movie, I'm like a good example of this is, I guess, The Lighthouse, if you're familiar with that movie. It came out like a year ago with Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I went to the theaters and watched that movie. I'm like, yo, what even is going on? But it's one of those kind of abstract art pieces where you're not quite sure what's going on, but you're so enamored with it. And so I listened to the director, Robert Eggers, talk about the story and why he told the story and the structure that he did, and how he leaves it like he plants enough seeds there to be interpreted. He leaves room for the audience to kind of make up their minds on some things. And I love just seeing directors takes on things, and writers tell stories in really interesting ways. So I hope I'm answering your question.
Yeah, yeah.
I love the behind the scenes kind of stuff, because that just fuels my interest in that in those things. Um, to the point to where like I just wonder, like, why doesn't everybody want to do this? Like, why doesn't everybody want to be an actor or a storyteller in some capacity? Because like uh it's just so fun, you know. But it's that's just not how everybody's wired. So yeah, that's interesting, that story. I guess that's the fear with I mean, at least for me, I won't speak for everybody, but I imagine a lot of people would have that fear of losing that sort of uh innocent infatuation with something that you really like. So yeah, again, yeah, I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, for sure. Um, no, I just like how is it? I mean, it's recently it's been in the sense of our hobbies and that recent infatuation with things like acting and like magic and even like drawing and stuff like that. But it kind of reminded me of before. I don't know, even it's weird, but like when I was working as a scribe, we would get a lot of patients who came in, um, some high off their mind and some not. But they would
Mm,
always talk about like, oh, I'm a government spy, and like all these people are after me, or like, oh, I'm being haunted by like fairies like all around me, or like I'm being haunted by ghosts or whatever. And we'd always theme them as like delusional, um, and like mentally ill. And like obviously in a lot of cases, yeah, they are.
mm,
But then it's like it made me think of like when we're a kid and we see those things, it's like, oh, it's a cute thing that kids say. You have a great imagination.
mm,
And when it's adult, when we say those things, it's you're delusional, you're mentally ill.
mm.
And it's I guess a
Yeah,
contextual thing.
sure.
But I think regardless, it's kind of sad. Maybe not sad, but like interesting to me to think about all the things that have changed or like how we've kind of had to give up on as we grow older, and how the simple thing like age kind of changes the context of those things.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, like I always kind of ask that question in my mind, like, oh, what if they are actually government spy? Like, what if they are actually being haunted and we're just like they're like being tortured and we're just because we can't see it and we don't believe it, we're just not doing anything about it. Obviously, that's probably not the case, but
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what if scenarios? Um, I don't know. I feel like we lose a lot of our wonder when we grow up, and we kind of have to going into the work world. But
Yeah.
yeah,
There's it's a shift from childlike imagination to adulthood logic, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Everything has to fit the set of rules, and anything
yeah.
outside of that we just call mentally ill
Mhm.
or delusional, like you were saying. There's a song actually by Supertramp called "The Logical Song" that actually kind of talks about this, and I'll send it to you after this because it's a really good song, um, and sad in a way. Yeah, it is sad in a way because things were just so simple when you were a kid. Um, but just the nature of having to live, you grow up, and just with age that just changes. And yeah, it is an interesting sort of like what if that person actually is a spy. It sounds like a Twilight Zone episode, and
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. um yeah, sorry, I don't think I was catching the bigger picture that you were putting out there with the theater stuff, but I got you now. Yeah. Hmm. And you always hear people talk about how like there's always still a child, and like everyone's still a child at heart, but we've just built up these layers upon layers of logical walls, that
Yeah.
just defend from imagination like that kind of seeping its way in.
Mhm.
Um, That's why everybody should be an actor, because then you can just play pretend forever and you get paid for it.
I mean, I think about that too because it's like some people. I mean, you have these screenwriters and these directors and these authors that I guess still have that imagination. It's just now instead of pretending that they're or actually believing that they're these characters, they're like building the world on their own.
Mhm.
And that in itself is like a great adult way to express and appreciate your imagination. I just thought it was really different and really interesting and sad to compare it to um, back when we were kids, when we could just be that.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not saying like any of it's like our childhood innocence is like any better or worse than our adult logic. Like I said, I love like with magic, I love the behind the scenes stuff. I love knowing the techniques. I don't think I love it any more or less now than I did as a kid.
Mhm.
Um, it's just different. And I never really thought about it until recently, and it really kind of changed. Just that having that concept in my head has kind of really changed how I viewed everything.
Yeah. it's a good perspective to kind of keep in mind. And it's something I kind of want to sit on a little more and just observe with, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Um, I want to like sit and sort of and not watch people, but like just observe life around me and see like, I wonder if like at what moments do glimpses of that inner child come out? You know
Mm.
what I mean? Like what are moments in people's lives where they are at ease and kind of allow that to spill out? Does that happen? And what triggers it and stuff? It's interesting. Yeah. Thanks for kind of sharing that perspective. I've never really thought of it like that before. I mean, with the things that we like to do, like whether it's drawing or painting or the martial arts or acting, you know, like it kind of reminds me of that Dead Poets Society quote that I'm going to butcher, but Robin Williams, he says something along the lines of, you know, math and sciences, these are the things that keep us alive, but the arts, literature, those are like why we live. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
without those things, man, imagine just how dull life would be. Like what would even be the point? What would even be the point? You're not connecting with anybody. You're not connecting with any idea or concept. It's just you feel like a drone. You know what I mean? It's almost dystopian. Um, yeah, it's interesting stuff to think about. Where so that was a magician that like shared that on that show? Is that what you said?
Yeah. And
Okay.
he talked about it more in this, like very specifically in the sense of magic. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, it kind of reminded me. Not even it kind of reminded me of the more broader sense that I got a while ago.
Mhm.
Um, and I guess I feel kind of dumb saying this, but like there's an anime kind of like that too that I always
Yeah.
talk about. That like um, yeah, that kind of talks about that aspect of like when do we have to when do we have to kind of go switch that cross that line between our childhood like innocence and imagination to adult logic, and like why do we have to cross it at that point? Um, so I don't know, it really got me thinking. So
Yeah, I want to sit on that a little more. I like want to read books on that. I bet you that there are books on that out there.
probably yeah.
That's really interesting. I love it took me a little while to zoom out to see the broader conversation there, but like I love things like that because it's just it's perspective shaping, you know what I mean? Um I'm gonna send you, I mean maybe not now, but like I'm just gonna open up another tab so I remember to send you that Supertramp song that kind of talks about this. Here we go. That was the, did you say Penn and Teller show? That's what it's called.
Yeah, yeah.
That's such a
Uh,
cool show.
it's a great show. I've been super into it lately.
I haven't gotten super into it. I've seen like clips and scenes on YouTube. I haven't actually watched a full episode, but it's such a neat idea. I also like apparently, I mean, obviously those two are very established and well-respected magicians. I hadn't heard of those two until that show, honestly, but I'm not really in the magic kind of world. Literally all I know is David Blaine and those two. Those are the only like magic type names I know of.
Yeah, I feel like magic's kind of weird in that you can have these famous magicians, but they're really only populated magicians. Um, like for example, like Leonard Green is a really amazing, really popular close-up magician who is like known for creating so many foundations of magic, but
Mhm.
no one knows about him because they're not a magician. And I guess you can say that about like a lot of fields,
Sure.
but yeah, I think it's just it's a little bit of a bummer to, and then it's kind of the whole point of like magicians don't reveal their secrets. Like part of it is, yeah, you want to keep the splendor, but also like you want to keep the credit where credit is due, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
so yeah, I think even like beyond, it's going on a little bit of a tangent, but like even beyond like Penn and Teller, I've been really into just watching like professionals for reacting in general. Um, so like the coolest Penn and Teller, I think typically is really cool because you're trying to there's like there's a goal to it, right? Like you're trying to fool them with magic with these people who have been doing this for 45 years. But I also just been really interested in watching uh like professional artists reacting to amateur drawings or like professional dancers reacting to amateur dance videos and things like that. I think I've learned a lot from those videos, but also just really interesting to see how their experience has really kind of changes how they view their own craft.
Right. Yeah. I'm trying to think of if there's anything sort of related to that in like the acting type world. You don't normally see like amateur actors react to professional actors.
Yeah.
But what you do hear a lot about with acting is the professional actors talk about their processes or even their lack of processes and how just enlightening it is because it's so unconventional, not for the sake of being unconventional, but just because they acknowledge that like, hey, the other stuff doesn't really work for me. Like this is just what I do. And look at the work that I put out there. So yeah, so I get my perspective and stuff like that, I guess, directly from the source. It'd be interesting to see like amateur actors talk about their thoughts on or even coaches, like acting coaches. There are a few like that. There's like a few YouTube videos of vocal coaches reacting to like actors' accents in movies, but those are usually kind of like just funny videos. They're not really perspective giving in that regard. But that's interesting stuff. Now, you have any new magic tricks?
No, unfortunately.
But
I just like haven't really gotten in the. I haven't done magic in so long, but I haven't really gotten in the. I forgot how long it takes to learn a magic trick.
I did.
I think before, like in high school, it was a lot easier because I was learning all the techniques as well as the magic tricks, and so I just kind of felt like I was constantly learning something. As opposed to now where I kind of know those techniques already. And so when I perform a trick, I'm just learning the trick and I'm learning all the angles and things like that. So it's just a lot, it feels a lot more tedious to learn. So I haven't just had the patience to learn trick in a long time. It's kind of funny because I was trying to learn magic, a lot more tricks for magic before I went to the Philippines because I knew I'd be working with kids. I didn't, but I performed magic for them anyways. And like, there's one group of kids I was pretty impressed, but everyone else was just like dead silent. Like they had no idea what's going on.
Oh, okay.
I was like, man, that really, I'm not a professional, but it really hurts my pride as a professional. I can't even entertain these kids. So I guess I need to learn a couple more tricks. But
hey man, as long as one kid was enamored.
That's true. Yeah.
As long as this one. Because who knows? Maybe that one kid was inspired enough to go become a magician themselves.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah.
You might have already answered this in kind of detailing it, but do you feel that magic has been ruined in any sense, knowing some of the ins and outs yourself?
I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying before, where it's not necessarily ruined per se. It's just different. And I can't say I was ever really super into magic as a kid either. Like I can't really remember a time where I saw like I actually started learning magic before I got super interested in watching magic. If that makes sense. Like I kind of picked up just because I was bored. I had like cards lying around, and so it wasn't until I was learning about it that I started watching videos of magic and being like, wow, this is really incredible. But at that point, I already kind of knew about the sleight of hand stuff. So I guess I kind of ruined it for myself. But regardless, yeah, it's definitely different. I don't necessarily see it as like, oh man, this is true, genuine magic anymore, as much as like I'm just seeing it for techniques and the effects. And there are obviously some magic tricks that I can't figure out. And like in those cases, I truly am amazed, but I still don't really see it as, oh, this is true magic, right?
Yeah.
And there are magicians there are people who say like, oh, well, that amazement in itself is magic. I think that's fair, but also very avant-garde and very like not practical. And so it definitely changes things. I don't know, for a while, it definitely like ruined it. but getting coming back to it, I don't know. I still like it a lot, and I don't know if I really like it any more or less than if I were to watch it without knowing anything.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just different. I don't know if I could really say if it's better or worse, but it's really different.
Yeah, I understand. I personally kind of like having some analytical tools just from knowing the ins and outs and things. Kind of, I mean, I already talked about it, but
Yeah.
it's kind of nice having it be a little different, I think, because I think it's, oh, never mind. I'm not going to go into that tangent, but I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotcha. So what keeps you doing it then? Is it just like in interest? Just like a general interest with magic? Like,
Um, I don't know. I think every once in a while, because it's been kind of on and off. Um, I like entertaining people, and I
uh,
like um, just this idea that, like I said, I don't really dislike it.
mhm,
Just because I know the ins and outs. Like if anything, I like it because of that. Like I like knowing that I can like these people, like I'm doing these techniques right in front of these people's faces, and they can't tell what I'm doing, right? They know something's off, but they don't know exactly what is off, and then they're amazed because of that. And I like entertaining people in that way. Really being able to set up, kind of like acting, like being able to set up a story and being able to show something that people really wouldn't expect or wouldn't imagine. Like people will find impossible.
mhm.
Um, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I think I would like to act as well. Um, I don't know. I think, and like there was a period of time where I thought, yeah, like these magic tricks are kind of boring. Like I already know what's happening with all of them. It kind of lost its wonder. But then there are also times where, like I said, I don't know what's going on, and those moments really amaze me.
Yeah.
Um, like the video I was talking about earlier. I don't think what amazed me wasn't necessarily the effects that he did. It was that the way he revealed what he did. It's kind of hard to
Mhm.
explain. I'll send you the video later, but
Sure.
like the methodology he talked about behind it was really amazing. And so there's always with something like magic, it's never going field. With art in general, it's like an ever going field. There's always new techniques, there's always new effects,
Exactly.
there's always new ways to perform to the effects. Um, like especially in magic, right? There's so many tricks that are pick a card, put in the deck, then find the card. But regardless, like but regardless, you know what the effect's going to be, but you're still amazed every time they do it, right?
Yeah.
Because they do it so many different ways. And so, yeah, it's like I think it's hard with something like that to really like lose interest when it is ever growing. And it's kind of
Mhm.
the same way I feel about like medicine and about martial arts and about dance and all the other fields as well. Is that there's always so much more to learn.
Yeah.
There's always so many more ways to do things. So
No, yeah, that's exactly right. I agree. It's just like you said, there's always something new to learn. There's just always something new. And all it takes is like one really cool magic trick or one really good scene in a movie or a play. And you watch it as a fan and you're like, oh my God, I need to like leave now and do this myself because
yeah,
it just you feel so inspired when you see something really, really cool like that. Um, yeah, so I feel you. Yeah, it could you could be burnt out on it or whatever, or you could be kind of like just doing your thing, and all of a sudden it just takes that one really cool moment, and all of a sudden you're gun ho for it. Uh, I I only knew one magic trick, and I don't remember how to do it. I used it to ask somebody out, and it didn't
nice.
work.
Oh,
I mean, it did work, but I think it was a pity yes.
okay. Yes, yes.
A yes is a yes. Yeah, a yes is a yes. Oh man, I have to remember that one. I don't even remember where I learned it. Good times. Trying to think of other topics that I want to touch on. I don't know. I don't have anything. I don't have anything.
Um,
It's honestly just nice to just hang out.
yeah, honestly.
Like I used to do this with James a lot. When he wasn't in Canada, there would be times where I wouldn't even tell him I'm coming over, like typically in the summer, and he just kind of had an open door policy. So I would just kind of go over, show up, literally just walk into the house, and he'd be hanging out in his room, and I'd go up to his room, we'd say hi, and then we would just hang out. Like we wouldn't even really talk. We would just be looking at memes or whatever on our phone. I guess I'm just saying it's nice to just be in company again.
Yeah, for sure. I feel that. Kyle and I were kind of in that position too, where I feel like I'll ask him like, can I come over? Even like recently, I'd be like, hey, can I come over? Like, yeah, sure. And then I'll be driving on my way, and on the way there, he's like, hey, I'm gonna be in the shower. I'll leave the door unlocked. We just walk in, and I just like walk in and hang out with his family, or like even just show up unannounced and just like walk in and hang out with his parents because his door, I knew his door was unlocked, and just hang out with his parents until he was ready to hang out.
Yeah.
And then we just like do nothing for like 5 hours.
That's exactly it. And then someone's like, hey, you want to go get a bike? And then you go get a bike.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's perfect, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the days. I gotta stop moving this laptop so much. We can do that again. Also, wow, my video quality is doo-doo. I'm so fuzzy. I've been looking at your half of the screen so often. Oh well.
It's okay. No matter the quality, you're still mighty, mighty handsome. So
I appreciate you. It's the beard.
It's coming in nicely.
It's definitely not the beard. This isn't even I've had it longer in this period of quarantine, that's for sure. The goal is Dumbledore.
Is it an active like will to grow it out, or you just kind of lazy?
Well, it kind of is, but then usually I'll have to go do something like get a haircut, because I do have to be somewhat presentable for work. And there comes a point with the beard where I can't effectively wear a mask with it on, so I have to ultimately shave it.
Yeah.
But if given the chance, I would like to see how long I could get it for sure. Dumbledore is the goal, though. Eventually, one of those days. It's definitely. I don't think I'll do it. My beard doesn't get longer necessarily. It just kind of gets more bushy and dense, which sounds nasty, and I guess it kind of is. But that's just how it is.
It looks nice though.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. You can't really tell with the camera right now, but for some reason, there's like a little patch in my beard that it's like a little light with the hair. Like there's hair growing there, but it's just it's notably slightly more vacant. But the fuzzy camera is covering it up. I do need a haircut though. I'm looking like a chia pet. But yeah, no, it's just good to have company again. You said you're doing a video with Kyle, right?
Yeah, funny on it because Kyle mentioned earlier like wanting to do a top 5 anime thing, which I think will be fine. It'll be. I'm actually looking forward to because I think it'll be really different. It will be really different than like the videos I have been doing. It'll be a nice change of pace from talking about like being old and depressed all the time. So,
oh, sorry, go on.
So he's gonna be down. I'll probably do his maybe next week or the week after that. I don't know exactly what the topic will be yet, but yeah, looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. I don't know anything about anime, but
oh well, you will after that.
I'm looking forward to getting an education. It's funny you talked about your videos being like depressing and stuff, and like I understand why you're saying that, but I think it's just a reflection of like this transformative period we're in. You know what I mean? Just being in your mid-20s, it's a very turbulent time, and it feels like goals and destinations are changing on a weekly basis, so it's easy to feel overwhelmed. And yeah, when I catch up with you or Chad or whoever it is, inevitably there comes a point where I'm like, damn, am I being like doom and gloom? I don't mean to be. Like, I don't feel doom and gloom. It's just the nature of talking about the things we're doing at this point in our lives often sounds stressful. And I guess it is, but
Yeah.
you know, we're living.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I made the videos in the first place. I think like because at the time I feel like everyone was depressed.
Yeah, there was definitely a time where it was really bad. And like anytime we go get a bite, we're like, damn.
Life sucks. Like,
Yeah.
damn, I suck. I'm like, guys, it's been like 2 months since you graduated. It can't be that bad
Yeah,
already.
yeah, it was right after college. You're totally right.
So I'm like, okay, let's make some videos talking about this because obviously we need to. I mean, if we're feeling this way, there's got to be other people feeling like it.
Mhm.
So there, it does sound depressing, but it's kind of life at the moment. And there aren't a lot of people talking about that stage of life, and so I kind of wanted to be that person.
Yeah, which I
Um,
respect a lot
yeah.
because, like you just said, there's a lot of videos not in this point in their lives. Either it's people that are established, or you're hearing the same kind of generic advice, or you know, just things that you can't really relate to. But I think having videos out there coming from people in this period and you know a life, it's people out there can relate to it. I feel,
Mm,
you know, some sense of solidarity in it.
yeah. So I mean, I would hope to get more people on,
Hmm.
but no one really wants to talk about the story. I think it's sad because like people are like, oh, I don't really want to talk about anything because I haven't really accomplished anything yet. But it's kind of the point of the video that you haven't accomplished anything. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of unfortunate. And I guess it's a perspective thing as well. It's like you can see it as life now being the videos are depressing because life is depressing. Um, or you can see it as the videos are depressing because you see it as depressing and not because life actually is um,
Mhm.
a good time because it is. I think as as depressing as videos are, um, I don't really think that's the point I ever try to make. I think the point is that it is a hard time, but it's a time of so much opportunity and so much change.
Yeah.
Um, and so we are all going through things. So it's okay to feel to feel certain ways about it, and it's okay to talk about these things. Um, there's a lot of community and a lot of growth that comes from that. So
I totally agree. I'm reminded of like, you know, that image of an iceberg mostly submerged, you know what I mean? Where
mm,
people will talk about the tip of it,
yeah,
kind of not really be willing to talk about all the stuff that got you there, you know what I mean? All the
mm,
stuff that kind of came before, all the underlying things that you had to go through. Um, I honestly think it's healthy to talk about it and to have videos out there, like you were saying, because there is a community out there that feels the same way, i.e., 20-year-olds. So yeah, no, I like I said earlier, I really enjoyed the videos. Each one, I think use. I've noticed like how to put it. Well, that's the thing. I don't have to ask myself how to put it when I watch your videos because the way you kind of talk about it, I'm like, yeah, that's. I mean, it's like he reached in from inside and just found the words and put it in a video for me. So it's really I'm that number one kid in the Philippines that you're that's I'm right here. I really like the videos. So
thank you, thank you.
yeah,
I really appreciate it.
yeah, no, most definitely. And I'm gonna enjoy watching the anime one too. Getting
It's gonna
educated.
be, it's probably gonna be pretty dumb.
That's okay. I'm also pretty dumb. I'm your demographic.
Actually, one of the yeah, okay. It's kind of funny because like when I kind of like talk about videos, we're like oddly analytical. So it'll be it'll be fun.
Mhm. Nice. Is there anyone else that you're like? Have you done with Jonah?
No, Jonah's one of those people where I'm like, hey, do you want to be in a video? He's like, hey, let me do something more first. I'm like, okay.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, I got you.
um,
Yeah,
no, I'd love to have one for Jonah. Um, I think it's just a matter of he doesn't feel comfortable being in a video yet, which
sure.
again is the point, but I don't really want to force him to be in one, so it's fine. And then Yele was actually supposed to be next, but he has been going through kind of a lot of personal stuff, and so he wants to get that all settled as well before he makes a video.
Yeah. Sorry to hear.
Yeah.
I'll have to reach out to him.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's being settled now. So, or he's working on something now. Like, it's definitely a lot better than it was before. So,
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. So you've done me, Jonathan, Kyle, Declan.
Declan,
Right.
Yeah.
Am I missing anybody?
No, I think that's it. There's another person that's supposed to have on too from college, but she another thing, I would also love to have a girl on the channel. But then I realized I don't know like any girls. So but yeah, I was supposed to have a friend from college who's supposed to be on. And now it's supposed to be going to be interesting too, but then it just didn't work out scheduling wise and technology wise. So
Gotcha.
funny enough, we still ended up like talking, but we just didn't make a video out of it. So
This was recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. I was wondering if it was probably not by design, probably just by happenstance, how it's been primarily high school or childhood friends, as opposed to like college people. It just sounds like that's how it's worked out.
It's just kind of how it's worked out.
Yeah.
I think you guys are just a little easier to reach out to. Plus, most of you are here, and I've known you guys a lot longer, and so I'm more comfortable. Not that I'm uncomfortable with the college friends, but I'm just more comfortable having these kind of deeper, more extensive talks with you guys. I'd love to have someone from college as well. It just hasn't worked out for whatever reason. So hopefully in the near future, after these all get done, hopefully after the pandemic is over, I think, because I think they're all more willing to meet in person than they are online, which is a little easier for me too. So
Yeah, I understand. Zoom fatigue. I don't know if you're referring to Zoom fatigue, but for me, Zoom fatigue is a real thing. But yeah. Oops. It's funny, dude. I've actually met a good amount of people virtually, like met people virtually, like people that I would have in my lives if we could, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like primarily work, some people from Twitch. It's just kind of wild, bro. I didn't think I'd be like actually meeting and forming relationships behind Zoom and a screen. That's a tangent, but it was just something I was thinking of. Oh, you froze again. Are you still there?
Am I still
I
here?
hear
Am I not moving?
No. Oh, there you are.
Oh, okay.
I saw a slow head rotation. Okay, yeah, you're good. I saw a head rotation. Yeah, I don't know if my audio was going through. I was just kind of going on a tangent.
No, it's okay. You've been good this whole time. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, this Ethernet cable is coming. You know what's the best part about this Ethernet cable is I didn't pay for it. Work did. And it's like 50 feet long, dude. It's a long freaking Ethernet cable. It's literally running from my living room into my bedroom, which is slightly inconvenient, you know, for like walking spaces, but I taped it down. It's fine.
That reminds me of the good old Xbox Live days where I couldn't my Wi-Fi was like so trash that I just used a Ethernet cable to play Xbox Live. This was in like middle school, high school. But like my Ethernet cable was like pretty short. So I like my Xbox connected to my TV with the cord stretched out as long as it could. My Xbox on the table, and then Ethernet stretched out as long as it could from my Xbox to my router. And just like one long line across my living room while playing Xbox.
Yeah, very like tight line. Like
yeah, very tight.
You could trip on it.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, Ethernet cable. You know, it's crazy though. Like for as long as this is, there's still a lot of slack. There's a 50-foot long. I mean, that is okay. That is pretty long, but
pretty
still,
long.
That's pretty long. Never mind. That's a pretty long Ethernet cable. Sorry, something's popping behind me, and it might be the chair. It might be in danger. Okay, we're good. Also, this comes with 2 pillows. There's like a lumbar spine pillow that you can't see right now. You can see the straps for it. And there's supposed to be a head pillow. I lost it, which is slightly concerning because this chair's only been in this room, so I don't know how I would have lost it. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. I'm really excited, by the way, to chat with you on stream. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, me too. I feel like out of all the guys, I think you're the person who I'm able to talk. Like our conversation. I don't know if it showed up in Declan's video, but I talked about it when we were together. How like talking to certain people, like your conversations just kind of naturally shift towards certain topics.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's necessarily a good or a bad thing, but like with Declan, our conversations, we never even try, but our conversations always just kind of shift towards anime. Like with Jonathan, always kind of naturally shifts towards music. But with you, more than anyone, I think it changes topics the most. Like it's the most diverse within one single conversation, which I really appreciate. And so I'm really looking forward to being on stream and just hanging out, talking with you again.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think the diversity in conversation stems from the fact that my brain is always running 1,000,000 miles an hour. So maybe that's what it is. But yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. I've been thinking about how to structure it. And I think there's a game called it's called Tabletop Simulator. And Kyle, Jacob, and I were playing it, and we were building puzzles. But you can import your own images into these puzzles. So I think it'd be a lot of fun if we assembled puzzles that have a clear story behind them, and we can talk about them as we build it. That doesn't obviously need to be the whole conversation. I will talk about a million other things, I'm sure, but I think that'd be a lot of fun. I think that'd be hilarious. But that means I need to start doing some Facebook stalking. If you don't mind.
I don't mind.
It's just an idea.
It's yeah, Facebook, Instagram, it's all for use. I'm yeah. I threw away my shame a long time ago, so it's okay.
Same. Yeah. That I mentioned that I did a freestyle on my friend's stream to help celebrate his 200 followers, and he was like, "You sure you're good with this?" And I pretty much said the same thing you did. Is like, dude, that implies that I have a sense of shame. I just kind of go. But yeah, no, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I really would like to wait until I get all the kind of new artwork, just so like new art, new me, new stream schedule. Let's go. New format. So whenever that happens, I'll let you know.
Yeah, for sure. Just let me know. I'm really looking forward to it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited. I do need to probably hop off though.
Okay.
Because I haven't eaten. I need to.
Fair enough. Me neither. In that case, thanks again for being in the video. I probably shouldn't be saying this. I'll cut that out. Thanks again for being in the video. Is there anything in particular that you want to say before you hop off?
Just that anybody that's watching this, I hope you're good. Get vaccinated. Be a good citizen. No, I'm playing. No, I don't really have anything to add. Just thanks for having me on. It's always good to hang out and show I appreciate the conversation, and I definitely missed delving deep into whatever topics. Those are always good talks to have. Yeah, I hope the next time we do a video like this, other than my stream, it'll be in person. No, yeah, thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah, like I said, it's always a huge pleasure. I'm just kind of hanging, talking with you. And so I have been wanting to have you on the channel again for a long time. So again, sorry that I know you said you don't mind, but like sorry again that I'm making you a little bit of a guinea pig while the new format changes and stuff. But it really is a pleasure, if not even like not being in a video, just hanging out and talking. Meeting a few, it's nice to catch up. I feel like even in the chat, it's been a while since we talked. So yeah. Looking forward to your streams and being with that, and hopefully everything that's to come. Hopefully, again, like you said, the next time we do something like this, we'll be together.
Here's the hoping, man. Here's the
hoping.
hoping. Vaccine put it right in my neck. Damn it, you froze again.
Oh.
Okay, but I hear you. We're good.
Okay.
Oh, then there you are.
All right. Okay. And then with that said, to all my viewers, my few but loyal viewers, thank you again for watching. I'll see you next time. There it is. Deuces.